Okay, all you.
Hello. Oh, shit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cepheus Protocol podcast. Apparently, still hosted by Donavia, according to the drop page there. Oh, you fixed it real time. Look at that, folks. Well done. This week is going to be a little bit more of a chill podcast. We don't have a huge amount of like brand new stuff to show off, but there's been a pile of bug fixing. Robert was just scrolling down the list of bugs they've fixed. Bugs. I thought we might take a look at as well some of the continuing issues that continue to be issues. But Robert, what are we starting with? How are you doing with getting the game started?
What was it? I think you played before you went and got kidnapped. You played like a week ago, I believe, your first time.
Yeah, about a week ago now. About a week ago.
One of the biggest things from when you and Dervar played is that you guys were giving us a lot of actionable intel in terms of you're Australian, so you have a higher latency than a lot of other people. So it gave us a field test of like how well our code was holding up for like actually like the distance and the callback and the communication according to that. So it was just one of those things where let me see if I can fix that, Blaze. But it was one of those things where I was like, okay, we took all that feedback and then we took the feedback over the last week. Because on Saturday, I remember correctly. On Sunday, we had another playtest after you left. And then we had another one on Monday. And then we had another one on Thursday. No, sorry, Friday, yesterday. And the idea was each one was geared towards hunting down, fixing crashes, fixing bugs, fixing instability, quality of life changes, improvements, you name it. Like the whole name of the game was essentially just kind of like, okay, like now that we have something we can play, how is it holding up? What kind of feedback are we getting? We need to iron out some rough issues around the corner of like the mini map and like the main menu and the pause screen and stuff not firing on all calibers. So we spent that time this week cleaning that up, talking to people on the Discord, and getting their honest to God opinion of what they like and what they don't like. And one of the biggest takeaways is people love the building system. It's a lot better. It's a lot more intuitive. I think Krieg, you were a small like proponent of that, of like advocating for like you. I mean, what was your takeaway from when you played it for the building system?
The building system, because obviously all of this was quite incremental as well. With yourself and the team have been putting a lot of work into changing things based on all of our opinions of the people who were testing it from Patreon. For the building, for me, the system, like walls, for example, the walling system now is light years better than it is in Legacy. It feels far more grounded, that I actually have more control over it. And I also actually can put it closer to existing structures, as well as landscape. So yeah, I've been enjoying it rather well. When it comes to rotation and holograms as well, they've been tuned quite well. The lighting system as well, power down sequence. It's all been rather fleshed out, and I enjoy it a lot. And I can't wait to use it on a larger map.
Right now, I can tell.
Let's put it in practice.
Lord Jesus Christ! Okay,
as you should be. This is a family friendly stream. Okay. Oh my god.
Okay. It's basically like. Oh my god. Well,
I forgot to mention everyone. Please welcome our special guest.
He's helping us out playtest co-op, and then after this, if people want to, I'll open it up on the public Discord. So people can come in and play for themselves. If they don't have a good internet, they can play by themselves if they really want to and test it out, or they can play with us in a group. There's no limit on how many people can join a game right now because we're still stress testing and play testing. And last week and on Saturday and on Monday and on Thursday, people were advocating for just fuck it, like let us set the player limits we want. And at the very least, if the map is small enough, then it would be like, oh, there's only 2 or 4. But like a map like the bigger Horde map or the map like Pandemic allow us to have 12 or 16 if we really want to have that much in subtask and subgroup, because then you can have operators switching in and out and helping each other and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see just generally where the needle falls, where it lands, in terms of optimization, in terms of balance, in terms of performance, and all the other fun stuff. So that's something we're going to be addressing as we go into these playtests. What are you going to say, Winner?
No, I was curious. I think you mentioned. You said you got about 12 people in some of the public
them
tests?
Got really high. Well, we got like 12 people in a public playtest, and we had like a bunch of people on RTS. We had people and operators running around. Some people were like taking areas of responsibility of like, hey, we're gonna go take Bravo. You guys go take Charlie, and then you get RTS players that would pair up with them, and then they were building, and then the operators were providing security and complement to the actual RTS units, because sometimes you get an engineer that an RTS player was controlling, and then you'd get like 1 or 2 operators that would basically go with that engineer. So he has his build orders from an RTS player, and then the operators have their thing of like, hey, we're going to secure and guard your engineer while he's building. So then when they were done, they got their turrets up and they got their power infrastructure up. Then they'd be like, hey, like, we're getting under attack on like from Charlie. And then the operators that were playing would take off and run in that direction. And then there was a cross communication of like, do we have an ammo tent up? Is there a medical tent up? Is there a barracks nearby? So that way the operators could go and get a resupply and then go back to whatever goal or mission they were trying to do. So it was a very interesting dynamic that was what exactly I had envisioned in terms of like how I wanted how the gameplay to kind of coexist, where you get like that it forces people to talk to each other. It forces people to collaborate and like say like, what are you doing? What am I doing? Because everyone just can't play the game by themselves. Even in RTS by itself, we'd get people that were just talking. When they weren't talking and they were just building, people would be like, where's all the money going? What's going on? Like, why are we only building on the right side and not building on the left side? So, ironically, the system's kind of built towards a direction where it forced you to communicate and it forced you to like actually like plan out or say what you're going to do and allocate out like, hey, I'm going to buy this engineer. After I buy this engineer, I got to build what I'm going to build. Then I'm hand them off to you. And then you can build whatever you're gonna need to do. So like it built towards like what I want to see from like games that like they kind of have that level of tactical precision, like Arma, where it's like you have to communicate or you're going to die, and the whole thing's gonna fall apart at the seams. And what I wanted to show, let me see if it's going to play nicely before I bring up the build. Krieg, you can opt into the build. It is up for the download. Mine's already downloaded, so just let me know when you're done downloading, and then we could jump in and show them. So let me.
So that's for all of our prospective players. You heard it here first, folks. You can play your Arma 3 operations in Cepheus Protocol with a pile of operators.
So right now, this is our current task sheet that we're going through. Now, since last week when we played with Winter and Duravar, we fixed all of these bugs, all of these crashes.
Yeah, this entire scroll list is each of these is a bug.
This is everything we've done. This is why we don't have like fancy, new, explosive, nice things to show off. Because literally we've just been talking to people on the Discord, hunting down bugs, joining voice channels, calling people, and being like, how did this happen? What did you do? There were some improvements and some changes that we'll go into for like the operator and the RTS, like the drone thing. That's sexy and nice to show off, so we'll be showing that as well. But it was a matter of basically fixing these. And then, you can see Derek's list, my list, and what's remaining, the mechanics that we have to implement, and the bugs and crashes that we're hunting down. Whereas, like, these are from, like, one of the first play tests where I was taking screenshots and videos. Like, you'll notice sometimes I stop talking when I play test with you guys, is I'm taking screenshots and videos of things that you might not say. But I'm like, oh, he's building in this way, and it needs to be fixed. Like, so these are all the things that like we're kind of hunting down, and limbo are things that basically we're going to do towards the end of phase 1. We're waiting until all the other, like foundational pieces are in, like for being able to see other people's Steam usernames, having like some of the UI polish and some small little things here and there, double checking the optimization. The parachute system for the operator needs to be rewritten so it has better parity with like what we expect from a parachute system, like in Fortnite or Call of Duty or Battlefield, where it's more responsive and you can break down and you can open up your parachute on demand. So it's a little bit more adaptable for like what the operator is going to need. So like these are all the things that we're working towards in terms of basically like next week. And if this was 1 week, we were hoping to have this entire list gone by the end of the week, but we kept running into bugs and issues and crashes, so it obviously took a little longer than I'd like. But where our goal is going into next week is to eradicate and finish these new mechanics of what we have here, finish the bugs, do some more field testing on the mini map and small little things that we need to hunt down. And then that way we can get towards the ability system, get all the other final ground classes in, like the Radio Man and the Heavy, get his abilities in, and then that way you guys will have a complete Phase 1 rebuild. And then we'll spend a couple of whatever's needed, another week if need be, to hunt down the bugs and stability and crashes that you guys find. And then we'll start Phase 2, which is the airstrikes and the doctrine upgrades and all the other fun stuff. So that this board will be reset and reorganized for the next phase of development. So what I wanted to do, and let me see if it's going to play nicely, is I'm going to load, I should launch it. So I'm going to launch it into experimental, and Krieg, you're welcome to log in too. I'm going to start a server. So we basically kidnapped Ephron for a couple of days this week so he could improve the co-op horde test map, because what we were seeing we did not like in terms of basically the map was just too barren and there wasn't enough action, like there wasn't enough going on to facilitate meaningful gameplay based off of what we know how the game plays and when it exceeds and when it fails in terms of like wide open spaces versus narrow, more claustrophobic spaces. You can see we also added a watermark, like officially back in the old build, that is post-dated by the date. And then when we get more complicated and we start having like more updates because right now we're having an update every day on our DevOps and for the people that are on the Patreon, because the Patreons get access to early dev builds that we're playtesting like in the moment. So sometimes like they'll get something that's like a couple minutes or hours earlier than other people. But the idea is that that date timestamp might go away and it might end up turning into a version number. But right now we're keeping it on the date to keep it simple and be like, what build date are you on? And if I load up, I'm gonna load up the co-op test map and start a session, Krieg. Okay, so server's up.
Yeah, I'm ready.
And
it just wouldn't let me. Join
I wasn't hosting in that instance. Sorry. All right, now I'm hosting. So join whenever you're ready. Okay, so there he is. He has a physical representation of the world now. That is a drone helicopter. That drone That drone helicopter is basically has no gameplay ramifications besides a visualization for operators and for other RTS players to be able to coordinate and communicate. What are you looking at? What are you doing? What are you building? Operators can look at it and know, oh, that's what he's talking about. You don't always have to press Control-R, Control-T, Control-E to flag a location. And it helps for the immersion side of things, is what I feel like. Because when we had like 10 people playing, it was like the coolest thing ever. In terms of basically like, you had like scout helicopters flying off to the west and the right. They were placing down structures, ordering engineers. You had operators running around on the ground, coordinating and communicating and talking to each other. So there was a joint effort in terms of everything. So let's see. Did I just get a crash? I think I just did get a crash.
You did. You can handle one building.
10,000
bugs fixed, and there's always one that's new. Krieg, you have a bad habit of breaking it.
Yeah.
Okay, the server's back up. I didn't get a crash log, so I'm gonna have to check the output log. But go ahead and join it again. But I'm gonna have to look into that.
Donovan also says hi from. Donovan's on the YouTube.
Hi.
He said.
Oh, hi.
He said he's haunting all the way from Tokol, which I had to Google as he's in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, he probably was doing like a food thing again. But the idea is,
Actually,
Oh,
What a
the
weirdo.
idea is that we've been also going in and we've been cleaning up aspects of like ping and lag compensation. So we had a lot of assumptions that we made in terms of how we were going to design and do some systems, and we made too many systems not have client-side prediction, which meant that like if Krieg was placing a structure, he would have a latency to me, and it would take basically like when he's placing it down. If you saw on other people streaming, the hologram would lag behind because it was waiting for the server to validate. So we had to go back this week and rewrite certain systems based off of like higher pings, packet loss, and all that, and make it to where his placement is local, and then all that gets sent to the server is the final version, and it's not an authoritative in terms of like, hey, like send this to the server and then replicate it to everyone. Now it's like client do this, server wait for a visual indicator of what client is doing, and then when he confirms, then act on it. So we had to do a little bit of reorganization and editing there based off of like what we assumed how we were supposed to do it, and then how it actually came to fruition in terms of playtesting with Australians. And we were like, that's not going to work. And that's what I was talking about earlier in our playtest, where it was just one of those things where it was like, and earlier in podcasts, where like certain things will change or be edited based off of how we programmed it, of how it actually falls in line with real world metrics, ping, packet loss, all the other fun stuff. And you can see right now an example of like he's building a base, he's designing everything, the power is up. You know, if I wanted to, I could jump into this operator and I could provide security and run around and do all that. And then you could have your friends running around and doing that. And what was one of the other things that I aimed to fix is we had some bugs last minute that I was hunting down in terms of like, hey, like you could glitch out shooting to where you get infinite ammo. You could glitch out the sprinting and iron sighting to where you get stuck into a state. And that was all related to ping. So I spent a lot of the last couple of days hunting down and emulating packet loss and ping in the editor, and then battle testing and checking different systems to ensure that the feedback was there locally and the server per se get what they need. Okay, yeah, it's definitely crashing more. I might have to revert it. I might have to revert it last night.
Always works right up until you podcast it. It always works right up until we have to do it on the podcast.
I'm just gonna revert the build of 24 hours. Because you figure whatever was put in as a improvement, basically, hold on. Let me see if I can just see what it is. So if I go to here.
It's me, I'm a bad omen. It's
bad
got so
omen.
many crash logs.
It's like in the log, it specifically says Krieg core.
It's just the Krieg.
Game
shit
Krieg down. One of the things you were mentioning was about speaking of the drone running the RTS players. You were talking about operators and making sure that if you've got a pile of operators in the game, you don't get your UI overwhelmed with their details.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was one of the things that basically, I'm going to revert that back, and then I'm going to have to, for tonight's playtest, it'll just be a slightly older version. Go ahead and close and reopen Steam, and then basically, we're going to revert back to a previous one.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, you don't
Excuse me.
Person. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
so I'm going to revert that. I reverted it. We're going to go back 24 hours until I can hunt down that, and then basically, I think I know what it is, but I need to figure out why it's doing what it's doing. But anyhow, one of the things that we were doing was hunting down ping issues, packet loss issues, the bugs. One that kind of kicked our ass this week was just client-side prediction, replacing the structures like I was talking about when Krieg is playing. I'm relaunching my game. My update is done, and making it to where again, he can do it locally, and then the server authenticates it and gets it when it gets it in terms of basically, travel time on the internet. So let me. Okay, there you are. Okay, so let's try this and see how this runs. This one doesn't. I think it's the Horde. I put in a Horde medic system, and it might just be the Horde medic system malfunctioning, or it could be something that Derek put in for an improvement to the wall placement for the corner edge detection. It could be one of those two things if I would have guessed right off the top of my head.
mean, it's happened every time I'm building.
Yeah, just
a wall,
okay. So yeah, it's whatever he did for the improvement to the walls. Is that you figure it probably has an issue where it happens. So one of the other things, and I'm going to kind of show this, is that we had an issue that was documented over the course of the week, if I can remember where the MO10s are, to basically other operators weren't seeing the visualizations. Oh fuck! I gotta get rid of that. Sorry, I reset the server. I'm stupid. I'm so sorry. I gotta get rid of them. I gotta make it to where we gotta get rid of the console commands and make it to where it's actually just a UI because it's so easy to screw it up. But one of the things that we were having is we fixed the visualization so that when operators run in the radius of a medical or an MO tent or a barracks, the resupplies actually appear for every client. That was only happening for the listen server previously.
That's nice.
This build, ironically, does not have that fixed because of like I had to revert it 24 hours. Actually, no, this one does have it fixed actually. So yeah, we fixed that. It was a lot of bug fixes here and there. I showed this briefly before, but there is an attachment system for the weapons. And pending the end of the rebuild for phase 1, we'll spend a day or two adding in the operator customization UI so that as you level up your operator in these little combined efforts of however you're playing, you'll be able to customize your operators for RTS and for the TPS elements of gameplay. So then that way you can have like a drum mag like this. Okay, so maybe it isn't that. Oh, but this one actually... Oh, it's the vision grid. Okay. Let me just save that.
This is real-time development.
Yeah, these
folks.
crashes are going to happen because we're doing everything live and we're not faking anything. So
It's brilliant.
let me revert the build back to what it was then, because then it wasn't that. And then just don't build walls, and then I'm going to have to go look into that because I fixed the vision grid in the previous update is the problem. So yeah, just don't build walls, and I'm going to have to go look into that and bug test that in the editor. Sorry.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like whack-a-mole. You smash one bug and two more pop up.
I mean, you figure we're still very fluid in terms of like there's still bugs that we're hunting down and fatal crashes that we're trying to fix. Obviously, we thought all the fatal crashes were gone as of the Trello list was empty, but clearly it's not. So I'm going to have to identify those and hunt those down and figure out why that's happening. So apologies for people that are watching, but again, this is all raw and actually something that is real and not faked.
Raw.
Like some other people do. So you figure there's going to be
we'll do it live.
That crop up. So we're gonna just go ahead and join again. The game is back up. And we're gonna upgrade the sock right off the bat. And then let me actually go back to what I was checking my notes so we can go through and show. And then just ignore the walls for right now, and then we're gonna have to look into that. Another thing is that we got in the auto refill for the turrets, and yeah,
oh nice.
They were in
those
Legacy.
Yeah, they weren't working.
The new version didn't have it for a while, so we got that in there. And then you'll also notice is that previously when I was building, if you put it in, like on previous builds, people were playtesting. If I placed in a new structure and I was already building something, it would just keep adding it to the queue. And it automatically just did the queue for you. Like, so like he's gonna stop and go to that one. So it was weird because previous builds allowed you to just stack things without holding control. And now this one fixes that. And essentially the idea is that like we added this in for the auto refill like in Legacy. So the idea is when the MO gets lower, it will automatically add that in there. And then you can see the auto build in action. There was a bug early off, I guess, in the first couple weeks of the playtest where sometimes the auto build was not working in server environment, but it was working in single player only. So that was one of the major bugs that we hunted down and fixed, was making sure that was working correctly. We don't have enough power, so we're going to need to...
Yeah,
I'll send an engineer over.
I'm sorting that.
Oh, you already finished it. Okay, so yeah, now that we have power, we're good there. But I'm definitely seeing another bug I need to document. Yeah, I see a bug.
Oh, yeah?
Well, actually, I'll just go back and take a screen grab from the Twitch. But there's a bug is that these windows should not be visible, and it should only show the refill and all that. Because these don't make any sense for
I see.
turret. So, yeah.
For a turret.
And then we fixed the sky crane coming in and out. It actually is going through that hill right now. I need to add a trace to where basically it can understand how high it needs to go before it goes forward, or we just need to have a passage or whatever where like the mountains aren't taller than the actual sky crane's gonna go. Because like you figure when it comes in a second, that and the sky crane location is really, really far away for like where it spawns. So it's something else we're gonna have to tweak. Did we not finish the barracks? Oh, here it comes. See, that's what I mean. The level designer moved the sky crane way too far away.
Yeah.
I think it's like right. I think the aircraft carrier is literally like. It's not even that far actually.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
This is a dev map, so it's like one of those things where it's like we're gonna have to look into that. Let's see if it holds up. Is that I fixed the sky crane so where it does not fly away super fast last night, amongst a bunch of other fixes I was working on. And it was like obscene. Let's see if it's gonna play. Yeah, there it goes. And then it'll take off and accelerate. I added a new system for that, but there's no collision to it, so it's just gonna fly right through those buildings and through that object. So it's something I have to do and polish up.
Well, you know.
So that's something I have to hunt down and do it by not. Yeah, it does seem like the crash is later to the walls, huh, Craig?
Yeah. The thing is, I didn't build any of the previous one.
Okay, so then I'll have to note that
So
down.
I'm not too sure what that might be. But you did get a crash
Yeah, I
log
did, but that
time.
one was a previous crash that I had fixed.
So
I
it might
fixed
be
that
separate.
crash. It was a memory optimization issue
Right.
of how we
Yeah.
were handling a struct for like our perception manager. So it's one of those things where I'm
Gotcha.
gonna have to see what was changed for the wall builder because it only happens in certain like situations. Do you know like how long did it, I have the recording? But how long did it take you to actually cause it to crash when you were building?
No. Do you want me to do it for
Not
now?
put the toy down. Put the cookie down. Don't do that.
Okay.
All
the way up the wall.
Yeah, we're trying to do a
It's
play
back
test.
in the
We're trying to
office.
showcase just the progress of just no crashes. So if we know it's not going
All crash speedrun. Yeah. I wanted to check. Do you want me to like? Do you still want to do a dedicated
Yeah, we'll do
Q&A
that
at the end, or would you like me to just sort of
the only
go
thing
through
is
questions?
that
Okay.
fuck. I'm gonna have to look into the crash.
I was
Yeah, the wall
I was just
crash
going to
is
say,
pretty fatal.
Rex Reaper. I see you on YouTube. Thank you for your question. I've written it down, and we'll answer at the end. It's funny actually that we're doing this because one of the sections we discussed prior to starting the podcast was I was like, let's talk about some of the bugs that still need fixing, and it's great because we're discovering bugs in real time.
Oh yeah, I think every playtest we generally discover at least 5 bugs minimal, but that's still a point of them. Oh fuck!
Ooh,
The spitters are.
spitters.
Is everyone dead?
No joke.
No, they're not.
No, they're on the wrong side. But yeah, sorry. Looping back
There's
to
definitely a bug.
operators, something that Dark was concerned about was, for example, if you've got a pile of operators on your team, being able to see all their names when it was like 4 players max planned, that was fine, right? You can handle having 4 names on the screen to let you know who's there. Whereas now, especially considering how, well, I want to say surprisingly well the game runs with more players than that. It was as far as I'm aware, it was pretty stable.
The only issue was that like, you
and
figure I identified some things where we can optimize the amount of network traffic, but it was remarkably very standard in terms of each client in and outs. The listen server could get some optimization here and there, and some better packet prioritization and like manual serialization of that. So it's something that I need to kind of like vet from a outside looking in, and just generally like for the first playtest. It was remarkably running well for having 10 to 12 people in a session. And yeah. Well, you're saying, sorry, I interrupted you. We need an engineer badly.
No, you're
I'm gonna
fine.
build one,
It's
and then I need to get those garrison tents up for us over here.
You're the head dev. It's good when you interrupt because you know what you're talking about. But we were just kind of talking about some solutions to over cluttering the UI when there's a lot of players. For example, you were saying something like a squad system, so you only see the names of the people in your squad.
Yes.
I brought up like a sort of a Left 4 Dead system where, you can see the silhouettes and names of people within a certain distance, and if they get too far away, then you don't see them. There's a lot of great options, and that's one of the fun things about game dev is looking at different ways to solve issues. It just despawned.
Okay, so I'll write that down.
Who needs it?
Let me see if the collision actually... Yeah, it completely deleted itself. It repaired opposite. Okay, that's fun. Yeah, okay.
They stole the barracks.
I'll note that down on my Trello.
Yeah.
You've got a barracks over here, by the way.
I know, I was trying to see if I
already
could
had
break
one.
it, because yeah.
Oh,
That's fantastic.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, so as far as and this is already like...
Yeah, I got another hard crash.
Oh,
not
did
that
you?
one.
Okay. All right. This is now a Diablo stream. Oh no, I had a good thing to talk about. Whoops. In terms of it's like a Gmod helicopter where it follows the camera exactly. That is hilarious. Not only in terms of these sort of operator things, but just general ideas and issues that pop up with multiplayer.
Well, I mean, okay, so we kind of got derailed there a little bit. Things to finish your thought process, but what I was going to add to that was
of course.
So I wanted to give an example. Is that one of the things that I wanted to look into for the operator when we get to them in about a week or so is making it to where right now you can't see their name tags, and in Arma and other games like that, or Call of Duty, Battlefield. Basically, you can have dynamic squads that you can create, and then you only see the name tags for those people in that squad. And those squads can be dynamic in terms of the size of them. So that was something that I was looking into, to where when you have operators on the ground and they're playing as an operator, and you have a squad formed or whatever, you'd only ever see the people's name tags and information when they're in their squad. Otherwise, you'll see it only when you look at them. So that was something that I was going to look into tweaking and improving going into the, tweaking up and finishing up phase 1 was talking about that and getting that implemented and seeing what you guys thought about it as a community of being able to have that level of control of I only want to see the people's name tags. I want to track these 4 guys because, that's Bob, Sally, Mary, and Joe, whatever. And those 3 are on a mission to guard this area. I don't need to see these operators' name tags when people are playing as them. And then that way, if he wants to join that fire team, he could do that from the escape menu, and then he could see it. But if both teams want to join one unified one, everyone in this squad will join this squad, and then they can group up and do a task or a group together. So that was one of the things that I was looking at doing as one of the polish items for the operator, just to make communication and the whole tactical aspect of gameplay even more solidified. One of the other things was you figure we did polish up the drawing, so you can figure you see the lines are a little bit better, but there is this is a random bug that we do get where sometimes it doesn't stay. Do you see those lines on your sides, Krieg? Do they stay on your screen?
Yes, I do. All of them.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. If you come out of that zoom, by the way, I do think it returns.
No, it's not.
I'm incorrect.
Yeah, it's a client-side, server-side bug that we're still hunting down and trying to fix right now, where basically that breaks. Okay, that's magically delicious. Okay, so after the podcast, I'm going to do a playtest in about an hour or 2 from now, because I'm going to have to basically hunt down these instabilities and figure out what's causing this to break. I'll do a public playtest on the Discord, so we can try and hunt down some bugs, see if I can hunt down the crash for the walls, and see if I can hunt down the crash that I'm getting for whatever that is. I have to look at the logs and figure out why it's not posting. Because it is playable outside of those 2 crashes. So, and those are new in the last 24 hours. So that's going to be fun. I don't know. Did you guys want to take questions from the community now? So, because I want to get the bug fixing as soon as possible.
I've got a
shorter stream.
I've got a couple. Okay, well that leaves us about 20 minutes just for a general chat. With if we'll do an hour instead of 2. Right, I will take a few questions and answer them if I can. Otherwise, I will direct them to you. I start with YouTube. Rex Reaper, I saw you asked this before. He says, "Hello, love the game. We're off to a good start. Not sure if this is out of left field or if you talked about it, but how in-depth will operator customization be? For example, operators in terms of skins will be there'll be a preset skins, so you won't be able to, make a Skyrim character, but you will be able to change through a selection of different skins. I can't remember exactly. There'll be variants on each operator type?
There's base. It's like Overwatch, where there's a base archetype of a character, like Tracer, for example, and then you'll have different outfits or skins where they'd have a German special forces one, or you'd have a more Mexican girl could have a Mexican military police kind of one. The idea is that you figure we'd have different designs and different ideas. Michael had a couple that he did for designs that he showed off, and then we have them in some of the previous
I remember.
What do you call that? The news blogs that we put on Steam, so you can see some pictures on the news blog.
I believe the main sort of inspiration was very much Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 with the operator system in that, where you pick the character and then the character will have different skins to customize further. As far as that's for the operator themselves.
Stuff, like Ninja Turtles. Then we're very clear on that, as we're not doing Ninja Turtles or Nicki Minaj.
No Nicki Minaj. Sorry.
Anyway, back to what you were saying.
But
let's get that question.
As far as loadouts for operators, you'll be able to customize weapons, attachments on weapons, skills as well. There'll be a skill tree where you'll be able to give your operator different abilities and unlock, going down. Well, that's still being decided on exactly how that'll work, but there'll be a system where as you level up your character, you will unlock various abilities and be able to do a lot of the cool stuff that some of the specialist units in the game can do, such as airstrikes or building, for example. Your operator will eventually have the ability, if you unlock it, to essentially build anything that an engineer can, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I mean that's operators at a high level. Obviously, it'll be more fleshed out as the work continues on it.
One of the biggest things for me
let's have a look
for the operators is when you finish up these bugs, these crashes, these instabilities, and then do the ability system and finish up the issues I showed you with the mini map, and then it's going to be the operators for a couple of days. It will fix and implement the things we're talking about. Like right now, I just put a drum mag. I put a 4x. I did not put a foregrip on, because everything is all developer oriented for just testing it. So that would be, where is it? It'd be attachment, and it would be underbarrel 3. Yeah. So the idea is that each attachment affects the performance of a gun, like Call of Duty, like Battlefield, and it makes them, operators will always be stronger than an assault, a heavy, a medic, a sniper, because the idea is they have the attachments to augment their base abilities, and then they're going to have a pick and choose ability system where you can choose abilities from the sniper, the heavy, the assault, and you can use those in RTS. Think Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth 1 and 2 hero creator, but then add in third person. So that's the baseline of the inspiration, is Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth hero creator. I mean, that's basically where the idea came from for having operators. Just I wanted to build on it and have it to where you could actually have direct control. And then Michael has to fix the reload animations, but those will be fixed so that the drum mags and all those come down. That'll be part of the polish that we do coming out of phase 1, is you'll see the drum mags and you'll see the hands on the proper positions and little things like that, just kind of ironing out. There is a host side jerking that's occurring right now that we have to hunt down and fix. You'll notice that it jerks for me, but Krieg, is it jerking for you at all whenever you play the game?
In what sense?
Yeah.
From the camera?
So there's something going on that only
No, the
happens to
cameras
people that are
never do
hosting me, or like I think Maxim was hosting a couple days ago, where like you'll get like this random jerk that occurs. Something's calculating and running behind the scenes, and we need to hunt that down and fix. But clients don't get it. Most likely, it's related to the AI controllers.
I also wasn't getting it. Well, I've been on a different build, to be fair, but I wasn't getting it previously.
So you were. So
when I
maybe
was
it's built on
hosting
my
something.
computer and my configuration. Okay, I'm gonna have you guys host them later. You and
It's me. I hacked in.
Craig, I'm gonna have you guys host the server and see if you guys get this and compare notes. Because it could be a conflicting piece of software I have on my computer.
But just to follow up with Rex, no weapons will not be locked to class. I mean, you may have to unlock some weapons. You will have to unlock weapons as you level up your character, but not like you won't like Battlefield pick a class and be locked to one type of weapon. As for some other questions, Quilibly asks, would it perhaps be possible for RTS players to give operators, air quotes, soft orders? So example, you select like an operator who's being controlled by someone and you get, or no, like as in select them and then like right click somewhere, tell them to attack something or move somewhere, and they'll get a little UI prompt with an objective marker, like
a squad, like a Battlefield's commander mode.
Yeah, actually, like a Battlefield where they get like a little UI pop up and it's got like objective so many meters away given by this person.
Maybe not even just one person, but a squad as a whole.
Yeah.
Let me think about that. That's a nice quality of life.
Yeah, I mean it's we won't say no. We'll definitely have a discussion on that for sure. Well, I say we, as in the team will, and I'll I might show up and
Maxim says
listen.
about having quick commands, like holding F1 and then having like a drop down like the League of Legends. It's something we do for accessibility. Is having like F1 need generator.
We need it's the TF2.
Yeah, you're right.
Get the TF2.
Yeah,
like,
we do
voice
need to
chat
put
lines.
that in there. That's more of like a polish thing we need to do. I have to figure out the best time of squeezing that in there, because you figure we need a text chat.
I can't wait to hear. Need a dispenser here.
Oh yeah, huh? Because TF2 is what popularized that, did it? Popularized it?
Maybe actually could have been. I can't think of an earlier game which had much like quick bind chat like that. Silent Song asks, will there be the ability to control vehicles in the distant... Oh, no, sorry. I know the ability to control vehicles will be in the distant future, but will there be the same ability to control turrets?
You mean like these?
Yeah, like direct control turrets.
No one's asked that question before. I gotta think. Let me think about that one. I just saw another bug.
Maybe. Moro Zovd says, any chance to make the camera drone invisible as an option? I would level that you're probably thinking that because it looks a bit goofy at the moment, where it's perfectly following the camera. This is very much a first pass implementation.
I'm gonna pull them back
but
and let the turrets take control.
There'll be some internal sort of looking at the drone for an RTS camera, seeing what works, what doesn't, how it looks, how it feels. Whether it ends up staying in its current form or not. Probably not. A lot of things will change. This is almost everything here is basically first pass implementation.
It's going to come down to feedback. It's going to come down to bug testing. It's going to come back to just what you guys say. So like, when it comes to the turret direct control, I don't have a stance on that just yet. I need to think about that a little bit more. When it comes to the turret, in terms of basically when we add it, there's no options right now. Is you load in, you play immediately. So what you're talking about is something that we need to add before we make it accessible to everyone. I press escape right now. It's just close game, go back to main menu. Because that takes development time to make the options away from the gameplay, bug fixing, crash fixes, and everything else. Or overpower. Fuck.
Uh-oh. That being said,
You're gonna close off that area?
Leave feedback. If you see something and you think, if you don't like it, feel free to. My DMs are always open. Anyone can message me. I can direct feedback. Robert always says he reads everything that's sent to him
Immediately.
even if he doesn't
I get a
respond
lot
because
of
he gets a
DMs.
lot of feedback.
A lot. So like sometimes I'll go
So,
my thing and I'm like, I just
Um,
cleared this out yesterday. There's like 20 more people here.
you know, feel free to DM me or just at me in the Discord chat actually, because
Did you delete
keeping up
that
with
generator
DMs is
that
a
was
bit
here?
more difficult than just.
Freak? Okay, I'm making sure that wasn't a
did.
bug.
Because I built
Okay.
one.
Oh.
I was like, wait, did that just get
No, no, no,
repaired
no.
back to Oblivion? Because I gotta hunt down that bug later tonight, tomorrow. But yeah, he's right.
So that's the thing. If you see something and you don't say anything, and no, if no negative
don't know.
feedback comes in, the team is not going to know. The team's not going to know that that's not a liked feature. So
Speak your mind.
absolutely,
Just don't be a dick
You know.
about it.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
be respectful,
Jesus.
or else
What the hell?
you'll go to the gulag. Let's check the YouTube. Got. Cordell Boykins, or just Kins, asks, are there any efforts to have a more robust
does that
logistics system? Something like having to resupply ammo and medical tents either by trucks or shut up. No, that's a very valid question. It's a
Jesus
very valid
Christ.
question. I'm just a hater. At the moment, work is being looked at in terms of logistics for ammo and medical tents, and in terms of them
Because right
running
now,
out
all
of
of these are
supplies.
infinite for the
I-
playtest. For the sake of just not having to destroy and create an ammo tent or a medical tent immediately. We made
Yes,
all of them
yes.
infinite. Blame Terminal, the girl on the public Discord that loves to just build MRSs and just park
Yeah.
her MRS next to it.
I'm
So,
I'm the one who got mad at that comment because I like having unlimited
Yeah.
ammo in my tents. But in all seriousness, it's a balancing thing that's being looked at, trying to decide what works best, what's fun, and what's also, fair. Fun and fair.
yes. Because one of the biggest things for me...
Wow, Krieg!
speaking.
Krieg Core has a question here in the YouTube chat. This Krieg Core. I don't
who
know
is
if I
that
trust
guy?
this guy. We
Who is
should
that?
definitely
Ignore
not.
that guy. He's a squirrel. Who's that guy?
He asks, will RTS players potentially be able to have audio?
No.
No.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
I haven't thought about that yet. Because then you'd have to be able to select the drone. The one thing that I was thinking about for the drone is making it to where, I think we talked about this on a playtest a couple days ago on Friday, yesterday, is making it to where maybe give the drone an L flashlight. So if operators and drone players are playing together, the drone player could provide like a huge flashlight area, like a wide berth. And then they could have a little bit of collaboration there. Maybe that was the one thing that I was thinking about doing for the drone, is doing a flashlight.
It's interesting because I like as speaking of giving respectful feedback. Like I don't really like the drone. I think it looks a bit silly. I think I can just headcanon RTS players as looking through a satellite. Whatever. It's 2025. I like personally, I don't really like the drone, but I also can understand why it's a fun thing to have.
I like.
So
You're
I'm
stealing
sorry, I was
mention it.
finishing your guard tower.
okay, I'm
already
glad you
building it.
like it.
But I'll make it an option in the future when we can.
Or even make it
The mesh
like
needs to be changed. The mesh needs to be changed as well.
yeah. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of
Watch your
options.
engineer here, he's about-
I
about
think
to
it
be
looks a
wrecked.
bit silly, especially with the way it matches the camera and zooms around like a hovercraft.
Yeah.
Why
But
they're not shooting?
this is the thing. People, let us know what you think. If you see something that's you think could be better, or you think could be done differently, reach out. Say things like, say things like, "Oh, great Emperor, you are the
What?
best and most amazing." However,
God damn it.
nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna finish your guard tower for you because when you pulled them back, you lost one. Oh, actually, no, one's still up. I think it's
Yeah,
when
I
they
was
do their
checking
auto
that.
repair.
We've got a few more
They're
minutes.
able to repair stuff into oblivion.
We've got a few more minutes for questions. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to ask or know or anything really? We're here for you, the
Will
audience.
there be potentially, what do you call it? Never mind. Yeah, civilian vehicles, like from the dynamic factions. That's a part of.
Oh my god! Can we steal police
Factions
cars? Is the question.
Can we steal police
So
cars? That is
police
what
aren't
I
really
want to
a
know.
thing until 1.4. I can't answer anything on that just yet, but we do have some ideas on what you're saying. When it comes to civilian vehicles, that
Classified.
will come down to when we enter
Yeah.
phase 3, basically, which is the pandemic mode. Then we have to figure out how far we're going to take that this time around, and to the point where we finish it and then move on to the campaign. On my original idea, I wanted to do civilians and ambient spline for vehicles would drive around, kind of like in the Matrix demo. But it came down to the realities of simulating that many vehicles, so it was just one of those things where I was like, maybe we'll put that off a little bit longer and see if Epic takes something else out of the Magic tool bus of like, they're always adding in new stuff that like reinvents the engine, like nanite lights, like nanite, like all the other stuff they've been doing, like mega scans for giving us like free texture repos. So it's one of those things where I need to kind of just
Love
see how the
Megascan.
tech advances and then see what our resources are. Because in my mind, like, it's not mission critical to have civilian vehicles driving around just yet. I need to get the game back to what it was before, get it bugless, get it crashless, get the co-op back to where it was, improve the evacuation, improve the interaction with the dynamic civilian groups, improve their AI, and give them the ability to be given orders, and then leave it alone at that. And then leave the rest for them giving you missions and other stuff like that. But when we build up Pierce and Natalie in 1.4 with the world events and everything else. And the big thing about 1.4 was it was going to be a stepping stone for dynamic civilian groups, is that we build the foundation and the core in 1.3, and then we add on to that with more layers and sophistication of 1.4 by Pierce and Natalie introducing a little more, like, you know, their nuance of like how they play. Yeah, they're new. Yeah,
A little more
but on
spice.
top of that, what the systems they bring, like they giving you missions and you giving them stuff, whatever, like that we kind of did a part of it at 1.3. The mission part would be carried over to some of the civilian groups, so they could give you like, hey, we need help guarding this supermarket for supplies, and then if you do it, you gain reputation with them. Little dynamic stuff like that, so that way you can recruit out of their units. Now, when it comes to being able to steal police cars, there were no plans for stealing vehicles. We had some early ideas of having it to where you could shoot drivers, and we even had it for the sniper where they could target the driver and kill them, like in Command & Conquer 0 Hour. And then at that point, you could steal vehicles, but that never got put in, just based off of like everything else going on. We could come back to the future, but for the time being, to the extent of what you're talking about, we'll be limited to just, if you're a good reputation with them, we had the idea that you could recruit out of them. So that would be expanded upon from dynamic civilian groups going into like Pierce and Natalie, is that if you're good standings with them, you can recruit their units, like their police cars and their unique units, to give more variation to your units of like they fill a role that your vehicles or your units might not necessarily fill. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's interesting actually that you were talking about vehicles that way. One thing I always thought was a little bit of a missed opportunity with the earlier system was, like, for example, when you call in a car or a Humvee, whatever, and if you dump the driver out, it was still your unit. You just couldn't order it. I always thought it was a little bit of a missed opportunity to have kind of like a company of heroes where it sort of becomes a world, you know, the infected wouldn't target it because it's just an empty car, and having it sort of be able to sort of bail out of a vehicle that might be too damaged to get out to come back for it later. Especially with the risk of like, hey, what if one of the what if Natalie comes down here and steals your tank because you had to bail out in the middle of an infected area? You know, that kind of. I think that's a fun little gameplay aspect that I think would be really excellent in terms of making vehicles a little more dynamic and more part of the world rather than being essentially a unit, you know, an infantryman with wheels.
I hear you, man. So, what time is it? Let's conclude there because I need to go and
Yeah, about 2 minutes. I think we can. You want to fix bugs.
I think I'll fix
You're
bugs.
like, I need to fix
I think I'll talk
bugs.
to developers to figure out where some of these regressions are coming from, because we didn't have this last night. So I'm gonna have to go hunt those down. We had that fog of war crash, but I fixed that. So I'm gonna go look into these bugs and crashes, and then kind of go from there. Again, we'll try and organize a playtest later tonight. If I can't fix the create fatal bugs, we might hold it off for 24 to 48 hours. Just keep your eye on the public Discord and the general comms channel, and I'll let you guys know if we're gonna do one, because you figure that's just bloody annoying. You can't build walls, and you can't do some other actions. So keep your eye out. If we do have one, it'll be in the next couple of hours. If there's not, then I will announce it of the day that we're gonna do it on, because we need to take some time to fix these issues. We're getting there slowly but surely, but it's just a matter of continuing to chip away at it. And just now that we're actually playing the game, there's going to be a whole new series of issues that present themselves. Because it's one thing to develop, it's another thing to play test and QA and hunt down everything. And just make sure everything's working and firing on all cylinders. So again, thank you guys for all coming. We appreciate you guys taking the time to come in and pop in with us, feed your feedback, feed your criticism. Talk about the drone thing for for your opinion. If you guys want an option for that, leave your comments on the YouTube, on Discord. If you want to throw it in there for the Arma type squad system, throw your 2 cents on the YouTube, throw it on Discord, tag me, tell me what you think, so I can get some perspective in terms of what people think, what they like and what they don't like. And if you want to support development, check out our Patreon, check out our support pack, buy the book on Amazon or on Steam, buy the merch, whatever, there's multiple ways of supporting us. Just buy the game, tell your friends about it, that kind of stuff. We appreciate anything anyone does to support us. And thank you guys for coming, and we will catch you guys